Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to MoviePOP, and today we're here to talk about Quentin Tarantino's ninth film. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So let's just get right to it because this shit is fucking phenomenal. It's currently holding an 86% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, followed by an 82% audience score. So let's go over the critic consensus for the film. It's thrillingly unrestrained, yet solidly crafted. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tempers Tarantino's provocative impulses with the clarity of a mature filmmaker's vision. And I have to say that pretty much sums the film up in a nutshell. So my expectations for this film, well, let's get into the expectations. This whole movie is running on the Tarantino hype machine. Of course, I'm expecting it's going to be a Tarantino film. My only expectation was that, please God, be better than The Hateful Eight, because I felt like that was a dip in quality. So my impressions from seeing this film, hey, initially, when I walked out of that theater, I was exasperated after patiently waiting 40 minutes that was over long in the runtime, but very pleased with the gems sprinkled throughout the film, leading up to its quintessentially brutal and comedic 100% proof Tarantino action cinema. So that's about it. Lawrence, man, what were your expectations and your impression going into this film?
It's really hard to get expectations for a film like this because the trailer doesn't really tell you much. Did you get the same feeling? Like, the trailer doesn't really reveal much of anything. It's like scattered scenes from the film, but they don't actually it doesn't make sense, you know? So, right. My expectations were like, I don't know. The only expectations I had going into it were like, well, it's a Quentin Tarantino film, so, it could potentially be fantastic, or it could be, I don't know, not so good. But, I had high expectations. I just wasn't sure what to expect, They don't tell you much about the story, so... Yeah, those were my expectations. So let's just dive right into this bad boy. Let's get some of our pros out there.
Okay, all right. Pros, man, set design, cinematography, writing, the story, the score for the movie, all of that. Of course, classic Quentin Tarantino definitely is on par, if not at the very highest echelons of Hollywood cinematic efforts. He definitely excels in that. This movie, I felt like it was a slight artistic departure for Tarantino, though, because it is different. It's not what we've usually gotten from Tarantino. And I feel like it's kind of a positive, although it does have some negative issues we'll get into later in the cons. So with that...
I like the 70s, though. Like, I agree with you, but I liked how they did the 70s. It's kind of reminiscent of, Stranger Things, Like, pretty good job, I feel.
Well, this... For sure. Yeah, set design, cinematography, all that. Fantastic.
Yeah, agreed.
No complaints, yeah. But yeah, with that, that's all my pros, man. Any pros on your side?
I mean, no, you all the ones you said, I totally agree with. I liked how also the film has a lot of it has a lot of the settings for each scene are very different of each other. So it has them at a movie shoot. And then there's fight scenes, and then they're dealing with hippies, and then it varies a lot. They don't really ever go back to the same scene twice. Yeah, those fucking hippies. Yeah. So I thought it was really varied. They don't continually go from one place to the other and just back and forth. It's ever changing, which is nice because I don't feel like a lot of movies do that. There's kind of four settings in most movies today, and they just kind of rotate. It's always the same, or at least they look similar. This is a lot of different settings and a lot of different situations. So I like that. The story was also, like I said earlier, I had no idea what to expect. Very interesting story, I must say. And some characters, and you can see it in the trailer, dude, I love the Bruce Lee cameo. That was fantastic. And just the characters that...
Interesting.
You don't like that? Or no?
Well, that's one of my cons. So yeah, we'll come back around to that. But yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I enjoyed just a lot of the characters in the movie because it's about Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and he's an actor, so he deals with a lot of different characters. And I thought, I don't know, the little girl too in the film, she's awesome. I mean, just there's a lot of characters to love. But yeah, let's dive right in and let's go into some of those cons.
Cool. Leading off right where you're talking about with Bruce Lee. This is one of my cons for the film. I did not actually like his portrayal. So a lot of people online right now are saying, oh, his portrayal is super racist. I don't know what the frick they're talking about, but it did not come off to me as racist at all, or I don't know. None of that. But for me, my con with
character, I feel.
I love the scene. I thought it was fantastic. It was great. It was comedic. The acting, everything about it was fantastic, except for the fact that this is not Bruce Lee as I know him. And maybe it's my ignorance on my part. I figured Bruce Lee to be more of a zen, very like, kind of like a spiritual kind of person. Not so much like very egotistical and ready to like fight with a random stunt double for the sake of fighting's sake. I didn't think that was Bruce Lee's character. Am I wrong in that assumption? Or maybe there's something, maybe obviously I probably didn't pick up on that. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's hard to say. I'm no expert either, but I'm not sure. Yeah, he was always described as like a really nice and humble guy, so it's odd to me. But I feel like well, because I think they refer to him as Bruce. They also refer to him as like Kato or something. So like I wasn't sure if it's like supposed to be just like a cameo and not actually him, just kind of like paying homage to him, but it's like kind of his character. So I don't know if it was that or if it was actually supposed to be him. I don't know.
I didn't catch that.
I like the scene a lot. Yeah, I like the scene a lot.
It was so good. It was really good.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil anything. Because you guys will love it when you see it. But I thought it was fantastic.
It was awesome. Yeah. So leading into my next cons, like so many films we talk about, man, like this, the overindulgence with the runtime, man. This film, I'm gonna watch it again for a second time, but I felt like there was 40 minutes, like way too long.
No, I have that written as well, and I don't feel that the movie. I don't feel that the movie was like. I think if the first half of the movie had been the entire film, I would have hated it. But I feel like the second half of the movie really picks up, and it makes the two.
What?
Although it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, although the 2 hours and 40 minutes, you like the first half more.
I like the first half more, and the second half is where it started to drag for me a bit. I'm like, where are we going? Because the first half is setting the first part is setting everything up. And I'm learning about these characters, and it's like that's been established, and then we're moving into the second act.
I felt the kind of where's this going as well, but like I liked like there were some really tense scenes that I liked a lot. That's why I think it kind of didn't bore me. There was like this intensity that was introduced, and I wasn't like ready for that.
No, I agree, and I'm not bored either. It's like I have like pockets of like just brief moments of boredom where I'm like kind of like realizing the runtime and the length, and I'm like, okay, what's happening here?
Yeah,
that's the issue. But it's not like I'm necessarily bored because what's happening, like you said, you have like moments where it's just like boom, it reinvigorates you, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm back, I'm in and engaged.
No, I mean, regardless, very long film.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like those moments too were not as witty and funny as some of Tarantino's previous films. For the most part, speaking generally, it's not his strongest work, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it for my cons, man.
Okay, well, that was actually my first con was at the length of the film, so I think we both agree there. The story also, I felt like I didn't know what story it was telling throughout the film. I'm just like, where are we going? So, like, I kind of agree with you that as well, because you said the second half of the film, you weren't, like, really, you didn't like it as much. But, yeah, like, I felt like I didn't know where we were going. I mean, I guess there's a resolution by the end. We're not going to give anything away.
Absolutely.
But it's just, like, where are we going? It's really hard to tell where the story's going. And it's hard to even say what the overall, the overarching conflict is of, like, the entire story. Another problem, I feel like Margot Robbie's character, maybe I missed something. I feel like she could have been cut out of the story and it would have been fine. Right? Is it just me?
I reject your hypothesis, Lawrence.
It's just weird. There's a lot of stuff that's like, I'm waiting for it to pay off in the story and it never does. It's like, why is this here? Why are we even discussing this? Why is this even on screen?
Why are we following her to the theater watching a film on her own? Besides...
She just had she was not in the movie at all. Like, it's even in the trailer. And there's no reason for it to be, because she's not, nothing happens. There's... Apparently
Quentin Tarantino disapproves of that statement, that's a hypothesis, and in fact that she had plenty of ample time on screen.
I mean, she did, but it's like, why? Because I was
why?
expecting like something crazy to happen to her at the end or something like that. Because like there's situations where there's these guys and you don't know who they are, or the guy that pulls up at her house and you don't know who he is. And it's random, never resolved. No one knows what happens. What's do you feel the same way? Am I crazy?
Absolutely. No, 110% for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually my last con. I kind of combined two of mine. I felt like the story was there were just like scenes that were just out of place, and then some characters were just totally underutilized. Could have been cut completely. That was my last con. I just don't. I have little to no impact on the story. I don't know. I feel like we're missing something, but it's like, we're gonna have to watch it again. See, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and watch this plenty of times because it was a good film, and I would definitely watch it again. I'm sure you would as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when I first saw this film, I walked out of it like, I'm so exasperated. Like, I don't know if I want to watch this again. I only saw it yesterday. Yeah. My opinion since yesterday has completely changed because all I've been doing is thinking about this film. I'm like, I want to go back. Like, this is great. So the question I have to ask myself, and then of course you and our audience watching now is this film worth you spending $10 to go out to a theater, drive, and watch it? Absolutely, yes. Like, this is an original writer, director coming out with an original concept that needs to be supported, and it definitely is a cinematic event that happens every once half decade. So there's only 2 films this year that have as much as a bombastic third act and ending, and that is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Avengers Endgame, bar none.
Yeah, I love that ending.
Right?
It's great.
That ending was so good,
my God,
dude.
It's great. The movie's worth watching the whole 2 hour and 40 minutes just for the ending, right there.
It really is, because it really all does pay off towards the end. So
it's good stuff. Very unexpected too.
All right. Cool. Well, hey man, so let's get into our final scores for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm going to give this, compared to Tarantino's work and everything else that's out right now, a solid 4 out of 5 bags of popcorn. Just one short of perfection.
I'm going to give this a 3.5 myself. I feel like the story is strong and there's a lot of good scenes, but just the underutilization of all these not all these characters. I mean, there's a handful of characters, and it's just like, why are they here? Just some of the cons I feel like bring it down a little. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, a couple bad things. It's kind of far from perfect, but this is a movie you should watch, and probably a movie you'll watch again. So that's my final score.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, you have it from both of us here at MoviePOP. If you want to find more awesome movie reviews, trailer reactions, make sure to follow us on social media. You can find all of our links down below.
And show us some love. Give us some comments. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We want to improve. We want to do this for you guys. You know, it's our passion. And as always, thank you so much for watching.